What's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, and welcome to the official return of my weekly Q&A titled The People's Questions, where I spend about a week collecting questions and then I hope to do my best to hopefully answer all of them. So, series is now back. We will be doing this every single Friday, so I'll be using this episode to kick off into next week, so you guys know how it is. So for those of you that are new, or if you're familiar, you guys just know how the People's Questions work. I haven't done one in it was like 6 months, so we got, I think, 5 solid good questions. There were a few other ones that I was able to answer in the community section of where I was requesting questions. So if you don't hear your question here, you guys will know where to look if you haven't already gotten a notification for it. So, starting off with the first question. All these are regulars, so I don't think anybody here was new. So that kind of tells me I got some pretty loyal viewers. So thank you. So the first question comes from Rain932. You want to know, are there any videos I've done that I wish got more attention than it did, or videos you don't know why they're as popular as they did? Oh, bunch. Oh, tons of them. I think all of my worst to best or top 10 videos, I wish they somehow got more attention. I certainly wish that my matches from this season got more attention, because I'm going to be honest, I'm actually kind of angry at myself because the last 3 haven't really done as well as I would have liked in the time that I've given them. Because in previous seasons, these things, I wouldn't say they blew up, but they definitely got to 1,000 relatively quickly. These ones are kind of crawling their way, and that's kind of giving me pause. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm kind of feeling like this might, if the numbers don't get higher, because right now so far this season 6, is already performing the worst than the last season I did, which that one was performing the worst out of the 5 previous seasons. So it is looking that even though we worked hard last year in order to bring the series back, I don't really think this the Versus series is going to be staying long. So if the numbers don't get higher, then Season 6 will probably be where I stop doing these type of videos for good on my channel. Because it was funny, because when I actually looked at the performance of the channel last year, the channel actually performed better when I wasn't making those kind of videos than it was when I wasn't. So, yeah, so I would say those type of videos I wish got more views. However, I will say this one video that I don't understand why it's as popular as it is my Just Dance videos. You guys probably haven't seen this by now, but I'd say my top 2 Ghostbusters dance videos, which were like demo videos, I was just testing it out, those have millions of views. In fact, most of the views I get on my channel every month come from just those 2 videos alone. Those videos get hundreds of thousands of views a month, and it's been that way for probably the last 6 years, and I have no idea why. Because the first one, as I said, it was like a demo video. That was before I had a capture card or even a way to record footage. So that first one is kind of in semi-okay quality, because that's just being recorded directly from my camera off the television screen. But apparently people enjoy it, and they are still watching to this day. So, yeah. Next question comes from Winter Ghost, who want to know, have you ever come across a game that I disliked at first but ended up liking it in the end? If so, what did you like and dislike about it? I have a game like that, but not in the way you described it. Do I have a game that I disliked at first? Sure, in the form of the very first Assassin's Creed game. But did I end up liking it? Not really. I mean, I did have to play through it in order to do research for my Gaiac versus Altair matchup, so I did have to play it. And while I'm not like a fan of that game, I could understand why people like it. I still don't think it really holds up in terms of the modern Assassin's Creed games, I would say, because it's so old. But I have found a newfound respect for the game, even though I personally wouldn't call myself a fan of that game. So, yeah, I'd say that's about the closest I could say. Next question comes from Phantom Sage. You want to know, for a long time now, we've had 3 major video game companies, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Do you think it would be a good thing for the industry for a new company to make a new console and bring it to market? People, don't you think people have tried that? I mean, I know there's I'd say over the last 10 years, I think there's been a few companies that tried to release their own console and have it be focused on streaming. I don't remember what they're called, but it's been attempted before. But if another company wants to give it a try and try to release a new console, knock yourself out. Next question comes from Fanfic Fanfiction Fanatic 2, and you really want to know, you didn't really cover this in your matchup, but what style lightsaber combat does Inuyasha use? God, I hated that matchup video. I still hate it. If I had to, if I had to make a guess, I'd say the closest I would say is maybe 1 and 5. He certainly doesn't have the precision for 2. I don't think he puts enough energy for 3. He certainly doesn't have. He's not as he's not as defensive for 3. He's not as fast for 4. He's not as flexible as 6, and I don't think he gets too aggressive enough for 7. So if I had to put a guess, I'd probably pick 1 and 5. I think those would have been the forms I think he would have been best suited for. And the last question of the episode comes from Tiger Ace, and you want to know, how do I feel about all the games coming out this year in regards of how many games came out in 2019 in terms of both original and how 20 and 21 have both originals and remasters from the PlayStation 3 era? Well, I think that just kind of shows that we're kind of entering an age where a lot of these game developers are kind of running out of great ideas, and so we want to look to the past and stick with what we know sells. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are afraid to take risks. So when you're afraid to take a risk, what do? How do you make a guaranteed sell product? Well, you just go back and look at something that people really enjoyed and then try to update it a little bit or remaster it or remake it. That's guaranteed to make money. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. Now, don't get me wrong, not every single gaming developer doesn't want to try something new. I think something like Returnal was kind of it took a number of familiar ideas and placed it in a unique setting, so I would say that was kind of a cool idea, and I know there's a number of games coming out that I think will try to do the same thing, but a lot of games these days are just kind of sequels to old games that we already know or enjoy. But heck, if you have a proven formula, you kind of want to stick to it until you feel like it's not working anymore. And I think that's what you're seeing from a lot of developers this generation. Now, don't get me wrong, with all of the major innovations that these current gen consoles have, you'll definitely see some new type of ideas, new content in order to kind of push the boundaries of what these systems can do. But I think that a majority of them are just going to be continuations and sequels of games that we already know are good and people want a sequel. It's a simple concept of supply and demand. If the demand is high, then hopefully these developers will supply us. So, yeah, I think that's just kind of how I feel about the current era of games. And that about does it for this episode of People's Questions. I would like to thank all of you guys who are watching it and sent your questions in for the return of my weekly Q&A. Remember, if you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, and I will be filming the next episode probably around noon of Thursday, and I'll have it up certainly probably Friday morning, so that's how much time you got to get your questions in the comments down below. And if you want to guarantee that they probably enter into the next video and will be entered in the comments down below, just make them be a little bit more interesting or unique, and that'll probably increase your chances. And please do not forget, if you happen to enjoy this video, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to keep track of me and all my future content. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next week.